but here it is not.
Maybe they wanted him, and there it is. Their plan worked.
Okay, how do you counter Superman? And I know that that's like the question everyone asks, but are either of the two picks you use to counter Superman Ryoma or Alice?
They locked them in pretty quick. They seem pretty sure about it. My two picks would be Omar and Chugnar, but that is just me. I think you have to take the Malik here because you don't want the Malice combo. And then Tulin is just a great early mage to combo with the Superman's massive damage that he's going to be bringing out.
Okay. So far, I have a theory that is they made a grave mistake over on the Ruthless side, the WIL Ruthless side, to allow the Superman through. Is that incorrect? Do you think there's anything that can answer this Superman?
I don't know. Their lineup is not really striking me as an anti-Superman lineup here.
No.
I don't know. I'm not feeling good for him.
And indeed, Yggdrasil pick the Zuka. Which has not been in meta for a while, and a Praetor as well being threatened here. Praetor, not a powerless mage, certainly a good one, just a very static mage.
I was going to say a rather stationary, yeah.
Yeah. Normally when you're dealing with a Superman, you want to constantly chase them down, be relentless or ruthless, if you will, and knock them out in that flight mode as often as possible. Try and hit them with slows and stuns. I don't see a lot of those currently opposing him.
Unless their plan is just to bait the Superman into the Praetor and drop everything onto him.
Well, they've got some very juicy bait. I worry, though, there's going to be a big bite out of it, and their hook's going to come out to the pond empty.
If the Superman loses here, I will be a new believer in the Arduin-Alice combo. It will be the new Malice.
Okay, I've actually wanted to talk to somebody about Arduin for a while, and you're somebody. So tell me how Arduin is doing in the meta, because I was under the impression that he was in the fine, I guess, category, but I saw a surprising amount of him at the recent NA-EU finals.
If you're looking for a tankier option, I believe he's a little tankier than Omar, not quite as tanky as Thane, and he does have a little more CC than the Thane, so he kind of falls into that mid-road. My only issue with him is he's rather slow. And if you are not able to land your first part of your A, then you don't have a stun at all, really. Yeah, which is what you're really looking for from the support role. But it looks like it's going to be played in the lane role here. So I guess you're just looking to soak up all that Superman damage? That's the only thing I can really think of.
You better have a big sponge. You better have the world's largest sponge, because there's a lot of Superman damage.
There is, but Arduin's fairly built to taking it, so if you're able to sidestep one or two Superman's abilities, you can avoid most of his damage.
I've just done some Googling. The largest sponge that has ever been found was about the size of a minivan, and they found it near Hawaii. I don't think a minivan is a large enough sponge. Maybe I could be wrong, but I think there's more Superman damage than a minivan sponge could soak up.
We'll see if Arduin is that minivan or not. Looks like we're going to be rather aggressive here.
Good start, but the start quickly ends. There's a nice triple knock-up. The Praetor did find damage as well with the Plague Spectre. There's another one coming through, and actually, this is going quite well. No Superman as of yet, and a great front line being presented by the Arduin. The Cleave causes trouble. Frenzy and Lemon need to back off. The invade is not successful, but the first blood is. Great pickup coming through from RNRS.
My guess is that Superman actually DC'd there. He did not move once during that.
Not from Marvel. 100% from DC. I've been sitting on that one for a while. I apologize. We will be sitting in the pause until whatever happens is resolved. Of course, at maximum, it can get up to 3 minutes. Ruthless did call it. I really hope that it didn't affect that fight, because that was a pretty good fight from Yggdrasil. I really liked how the Arduin was constantly able to stay in the front line, using that hue to find knockups.
Yeah, Arduin was doing a great job leading the fight there with his shield that he gets. Landed his first to slow, and then he got a huge knockup on 2, maybe 3 there in that fight. He really did his job.
So well, because the second tick of hue is exactly the same size, or, well, won't say, approximately the same size as Praetor's Plague Spectre. So anyone you find with its knockup, the Plague Spectre can tag up decently immediately afterwards.
Yeah, so far I've really been impressed with the synergies of all of the lineups we've seen. Even both the teams from the last fight, even though it was a landslide. All of their lineups seem to make sense and mesh together very well.
All of the Valiant online teams have shown me something new. In 2 games already, my synapses have been firing, and there have been 3 new ideas in total for just how compositions can be run, what people can credibly do in the video game. Because I've only ever casted European and North American gameplay. Literally never left those 2 regions.
Now, to be fair, that fight would have gone slightly differently had the Superman been in play.
Well, that's kind of a tough question for me, because yes, Superman's devastating, but the combo they were really pushing there, Arduin into Praetor, would work on a Superman.
Very well indeed.
So I actually think there's more reason to the madness than we credited them with. We are quickly approaching the 3-minute timeout limit. Oh my god, and we're saved. The unpause comes through. Things very dangerous for Ruthless, though, as they have lost 2 players in that fight. Frenzy going down just before the pause. But everyone's moving around the map, so whatever disconnect issues were plaguing them have been resolved.
Now, Ruthless will have a little bit of catch-up here to do. We'll see how they can react here as we approach the first dragon.
Up in just about 40 seconds, both teams will look to find a pick, some map control that they can get around that time. Cholo, of course, the Superman will be a big part of that for WIL Ruthless. He can find a good opportunity. He will exploit it. Zoom might be that opportunity. A panda-sized snack. They're already a danger, but he goes in. The laser's finding knockback, nothing else.
Yeah, Zuka's a good person to have against the Superman as well, just because of the amount of mobility he brings. He offers a lot of chase potential with 4 dashes pretty much if you want to use every single one of them.
You know, here's a fun question for a professional player. Oh, never mind. I'll be distracted. The Abyssal Dragon's been picked up. 23 and R both for the Yggdrasil side, looking to pick it up. Fuzzy is nearby. He'll go in. Nice try with the drone drop, as is, though. Big damage is being found. RNRS takes the lead with the Hue, finds the first kill. Fusey does go down, and that's a big pick as well. The vast majority of the damage Wailing Blade from R finds a big tag likewise, but damage from the Plague Spectre, and nicely done from R. That's 2 kills instantly.
Yeah, it looked like Ruthless was about to get back into that fight, and then they just all got hit by the big Plague Spectre, and they took tons of damage there in the middle of that, and then they were just able to bounce around and clean them all up there with the Ryoma.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with what was just done during that fight. I thought it was going to be over the second all the Yggdrasil players started taking big bouts of damage. in the middle of that dragon pen, and then it was just shut down.
What we're looking for here next is, I guess, really just impact from the Superman. We'll see if he lives up to the Superman potential or not. He hasn't really had an impact at all in this game so far, except to keep the panda under tower.
Yeah, one of the big upsides of Superman, of course, is his mobility. That allows him to find these picks here. He's lurking in the bush to knock the panda back. The rest of the team will come through. Zoom, however, speeds away. So, okay, this was what I was going to say earlier. Do you know what that ability Zoom just used to get back under tower is called? Because it's hilarious.
No, I do not.
Rolling Panda Chariot.
That's fantastic.
Right up there with Pooty Poots, in my opinion. As is this push. Hugh knocks back Frenzy. He's in a lot of trouble. The Alice Hissy Fit does come through to confirm the kill, but the rest of Will is here. Frenzy will come into the front lines and find the damage. In the meantime, RNRS finds a big 3-man Hugh as the Plague Spectre comes through. They find big damage, but RNRS goes down, and that's the main tank for a side that is suddenly tankless. The Ryoma will do the damage necessary to hold on for now, but hold on is all they do, losing 3 players on the retreat. 23 and Zoom need to be very careful. Zoom's already picked up 1. 23 will take that as a victory and back off.
We've seen, after watching the Valor series at E3, there's been a lot of interesting responses to the Malik lane. And I think that's what the Ardwin pick was here more for than the Superman, as he gets caught under tower. Ooh, and it goes down immediately.
Is that worth it? Tower for kill?
I think so. It's only one kill at this point. The whole team gets the gold and the XP from the tower. So when you're behind, that trade is definitely worth it. When you're ahead, maybe not so much.
Might not be a worthwhile trade at all, actually, because it's kill for tower for tower. And
yeah, it quickly became not a trade.
Became an exchange. You might need to read the fine print. Zoom needs to read some more fine print as well. At least get his eyes checked, because that was 3 people he just dove into. And it hurt.
Not quite enough dashes there, despite having 4.
All right. That's a lot of... Really? 1, 2? I guess so. Wow. It's right up there with Macross. That's a lot of dashes.
Quite the mobility. Now, the only thing that really scares me about Yggdrasil here is their only real scaler. You could argue the Panda, but is really the Preda. Whereas you have the Malik, the Superman, and the Tool and all scale fairly well into the mid and the late games. They just need to group up a little more here than they're doing.
Well, Yggdrasil, though, are quite happily winning the early game. And I guess it is kind of a race against time for them. Like you say, only their Praetor will be viable the later we get. So I think WIL Ruthless just want to hold on until their Superman becomes a killing machine.
He does reach that point to where he seems unkillable. Ryoma's about to hit his peak here soon, so you really want to try and take advantage of that, as Ardwin might get picked off.
Was in the wrong position. 23 comes through. He'll perform a 23andMe DNA check. Fuzzy deleted. The shot comes through in response. Yuginichu needs to use this Hissy Fit right about now to start zoning. Instead, though, RNRS takes the big burst of damage and will go down to Frenzy's cleave. They have a response. 23 will find a kill, and R is pressing forward. As you say, Ryoma at peak potential will land the Spectral Ire. Frenzy has so much healing, but it's not enough.
What I thought was going to be Ardwin getting picked off turned to be Malik and Lumber both going down for Ruthless there. And that's going to give him the dragon. That's not what they wanted at all here.
Yeah, a good trade definitely for Yggdrasil. Ruthless now falling behind. Do still have pressure in the top lane. That's what Cholo was doing during this time. Zoom's got the dash to dodge the Kryptonian strength and the stun as well. They're going to be able to slow down Cholo and indeed half his HP, but you don't really want to chase a Superman, at least not into a group of his allies.
Once he gets away, he's pretty much gone, and he still had the Purify there. Not sure if anybody's keeping track for Yggdrasil there, but that's something you got to keep an eye on.
Want to make him blow that Purify early on in a fight, so you can chain him down later.
Yes. This Preda is pretty brave here, hanging around that mid lane with no tower to fall back to. You got Malik picking up the Frost Cape here. That's a huge power spike for him.
Oh, that's big damage. The Alice Hissy Fit is desperately used. I don't think this Alice is going anywhere, though. That was brutal. I've never seen somebody so adorable get destroyed like that.
I'm not exactly sure who all helped there, but Cricknack pretty much did most of the damage there in the beginning. Took Alice completely out instantly.
And we saw that Hissy Fit used defensively. And it was worthless, because the second the Hissy Fit was used, Yoritsu was pushed away from it, and indeed on the wrong side of it. So there was no way he could return, and that's the power of Superman, I think, really.
Yeah, and Moba's, anytime you can displace enemy heroes, it's a huge advantage, because you can control where they are. Especially if you're proficient on the hero. And Superman's one of those heroes with a rather large skill cap.
Yeah, the top Superman. I guess that's accurate. We see in so that doesn't sound right, but I guess that's right. We see in some of the leagues are just intimidatingly good.
This might be a big team fight here. Whoever wins this next team fight is going to have a clear advantage for the Slayer. Ooh, Malik.
Frenzy in a lot of trouble. There's the Hissy Fit. They are annihilated. Beautifully done. A response gank to the earlier one, and Chinooks isn't out of trouble yet. He'll have the return. There's Cholo taking the lead on the Superman, and indeed doing a lot of damage. He might have turned this around. A great ultimate. Make that two. Completely locking down the movement with a Kryptonian strength. In the meantime, Zoom finds a response. The lumber has fallen. It's 2 for 2 as an even trade in the fight. Now, oh no, not anymore. He's not done yet. That panda's insane.
Oh, I thought they were going to come out ahead when Superman was able to push the Ryoma, and I think it was the Preda way in the back, but he just wasn't able to clean up that Ryoma kill. One too many dashes. And he pushed him away from his team a little bit. If he was able to push them back towards his team, I think their team fight just got a little too spread out there.
I mean, the real problem, I think, for Ruthless was that where their team was stood a panda astride the corpses of Cholo's former friends. Was a ruthless, terrifying panda.
This might be they're trying to get position for this Dark Slayer. Neither team really had enough in the last fight to do it. Still a lot of jungle up on the map, though. I'd really like to see both these teams clear out the last little bits of jungle creeps. Especially the support and the mid for Ruthless here. They're a little under-leveled coming into these fights 10 and 12, where most of the other teams already... Ooh, Panda, though.
Although still found the kill.
Yeah.
Like you say. Cholo takes the lead, still pushing people around, being very rude like that. The knock-up won't land, though. Cholo instead continuing to aggressively reposition the Yggdrasil members. They're all right with it, though, riding the Superman laser beams and picking up 2 kills despite it. Venom and Chinnuts both falling. Cholo now astride 3 opponents, will be stunned up by the Hue, and he too is gone. Frenzy and Fuzzy are the only 2 left. What do you do when your Superman is not enough to turn a fight like that?
He was just really underwhelming there. He kept getting the knockbacks, but he wasn't really pumping out the damage like I was expecting. Leaves the Darkslayer wide open here for Yggdrasil. They should be able to get a couple towers out of this and pretty much max out everybody except for the Alice on levels. And this lumber is still 10. They are just so far behind in levels. Not to mention almost 7,000 gold here.
Out with the Slayer buff, Yggdrasil look for more. You can see them just controlling the jungle. That's not good for that gold lead you were just talking about, that level lead you were just talking about. The way to get back is to jungle.
And this Panda is itemized beautifully against their lineup. Pretty much all armor pen, stacking nicely with the Omni Arms. Against everybody else who's pretty much built armor item as their first item. You got the Aegis already completed on Tulin, breastplate on everybody, or Knight's plate. And they're just going to walk through this here.
Earth Splitter defensively, but the tower's already gone. Yggdrasil look for the base, and there is damage. There is the kill on Frenzy. I don't know how you stop RNRS right now. He's just diving in. No defense to speak of. Despite the fact that there are no minions, he doesn't care. He's still pushing in. Cholo barely gets back. What are you doing, RNRS? That's the core. Surely they need minions.
They thought they didn't need them. They got maybe a little distracted by the heroes as Superman's looking to re-engage.
Oh, nice. Alice stun. He's got the Purify, but it's not enough. It's already spent. Make that 3 kills instantly. It's all on Fusey for the next few seconds. They do have Frenzy respawning in a few. Might be back in time. Fuzzy, gotta be terrified. Oh my lord, he's able to drop away. It's a tight one though, and Zoom's already waiting to greet him inside the base. This
Zoom thought about it.
Decide the game. There's the push. Nice play. Frenzy will find the cleave, but it's not enough. Zoom speeds past the defender. Scores a touchdown with his basketball. A hole in one. Making it 1-0 for Yggdrasil Imperious.
And there you go. That's how you beat the Superman. Alice Rioma Ardwin.
Apparently. Arduin, I was very impressed with. Like I said, I'd seen a lot of him over the past few days in the Valor Series finals especially, but I hadn't really considered what he was useful for above, say, an Oromar. But now I know. Very deliberate stuns, and a lot of them.
And this Preda 4-0 and 10. I'd like to see the damage. To see the damage that Preda did that game, it had to be just. Yeah, 31%.
31. Ooh, decline the invite. People like though. 31% of his team's damage. That's insane. Cholo, of course, from the Superman, getting an equivalent amount, nearly 28%, equal on Chinuts. That's actually problematic, I think, because if you have 2 characters responsible for roughly 30% of your team's damage, you're in trouble. Especially on the losing side.